in the world of mental health. I've worked with her on the Mental Health Committee over the last 6 months, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Amanda Thorburn, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Kelvin. Good afternoon, everyone. I would firstly like to give thanks to the traditional owners of this land. I am honoured to be asked to speak here again on the steps of Parliament. I've spoken here on the past 3 protests. I've suffered from depression for a lot of my life. I tried taking my life in November of 2009 and suffered injuries that will affect me for the rest of my life, but I'm not ashamed to talk about it because it is nothing that I should feel guilty about or anybody should feel guilty about. I have been in and out of the psychiatric system since the age of 15. I've been diagnosed with every diagnosis under the sun, had 35 treatments of ECT, had medication that made me feel like a vegetable. I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't do anything. I've now been weaned off all medication and I'm doing well. The psychiatric system abuses and violates the human rights that individuals deserve each and every day in a manner that is disgusting and degrading. There has been over 975 deaths between 2006 2010 while under the protection, care, treatment of the Victorian mental health system that have never been formally investigated. Ted Value, we want an independent inquiry into these deaths with no more trying to avoid it. We don't want Ruth Vine leading this investigation because it is a conflict of interest. Having a mental health condition makes you no less of a person than anybody else. We deserve the same dignity, respect and human rights as any other individual. The psychiatric system uses their positions to take advantage of the vulnerable and takes no responsibility for the trauma that individuals endure during their time under care. An excessive amount of electroconvulsive therapy is being used without consumers giving informed consent, being told of the risks associated with it, and people are being given it as a first form of treatment instead of looking into other forms or maybe looking into their background, why they might be feeling the way they are feeling. There are more than 5,000 Victorians on community treatment orders. This is more than Victoria's prison population. CTOs are just another way for the psych system to keep control. CTOs can be revoked at any point, which the grounds they were revoked on are not always even legitimate. To be removed off a CTO is sometimes nearly impossible unless you have excellent advocates or unless you strike the right person at the right time, which is nearly impossible. An extremely concerning issue that I have is this use of excessive force and use of drugs such as Accuphase. Accuphase is an antipsychotic, a long antipsychotic which knocks people out to where they will sleep for extensive periods of time, cannot get up to eat, drink or use a bathroom and are not monitored. Accuphase was administered to me in seclusion where I had 5 nurses on top of me. I was trying to explain I did not want a male nurse touching me because of my history and they chose to ignore this. Excessive force is being used in a disproportionate manner and it needs to cease immediately. Psychiatric labels are handed out like candy is given to kids on Halloween. Psychiatric labels are so psychiatrists can legally have the legal grounds to prescribe certain medications. I personally feel when you are given a label, all you feel is that label. You are nothing else except a person walking around with a mental illness. This is not true. Seclusion. Seclusion is a mattress that has a mattress on the floor. You're rarely ever given any form of bedding as they see it as a safety risk. You have a cardboard pan for you to use the bathroom in. You're completely separate from the rest of the ward. And in an emergency, you have no way of contacting a nurse except scream at the top of your lungs. And then if you do that, you are considered out of control and kept in there for longer. I'm a strong advocate for early intervention, alternative therapies, suicide education in school and anti-bullying education to be given out through all years of education. For those individuals that have lost their life while under the care of the psychiatric system, I personally will stand for you and will make sure the people that never did their job protecting you be held responsible for their actions and dealt in a manner accordingly. never let anyone tell you that your mental health condition is all there is to you, because all of you are amazing survivors. Keep up the good fight, everyone. Thank you.
Well done, Amanda. As usual, get the message across.